everybody. My name is Jason Keene. I'm the Director of Innovation at the Center for Discovery. I'm here with Lon Dober, President and CEO of American Portfolios Financial Services, and great supporter and friend of the Center for Discovery. We're here today for the ribbon cutting and press conference to open up the Assistive Technology Lab, really gifted by American Portfolios. So, Lon, you're such a good supporter and friend of the Center. How did you first get involved in the Center for Discovery?
So this started with a call I received from Joel Foreman, who's on the board of directors. And Joel was familiar with the work that I've done with World Team Sports, and he was curious. He said, well, could you do something for the center? I said, well, maybe. He said, let's go to dinner. I want you to meet Patrick Dollar, the CEO of the Center for Discovery. And we had dinner, and I said, well, yeah, I guess we could do a challenge. Now, World Team Sports, we take individuals that are physically challenged, and we pair them with others, and we do sporting events all around the world, whether it's climbing in the Himalayas or whether it's riding bikes across America. And so Patrick looked at me and I said, well, yeah, maybe we could do a climb, because he explained he had children that were autistic. And I said, yeah, we could do that. And Patrick goes, well, wait a second, we have kids that are in wheelchairs too. I said, well, I don't know, what could I do with children that are in wheelchairs? He says, well, maybe you should think about it, because it needs to be inclusive.
Right.
And I did, and I went back home and I thought, yeah, we could do something. We could do something that involves orienteering, biking, hiking, and climbing, and include everyone in sort of a two-day event. And we'll be doing our 10th event this summer. So I'm pretty excited about that. 10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
That's great.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am actually one of, you know a little bit about the Center for Discovery. Center for Discovery services individuals with complex conditions, over 1,200 annually, and I'm one of 1,700 staff, believe it or not, and growing. And my role is Director of Innovation. So what I do is I work with clinicians, educators, direct care staff, and the individuals we serve to really work on innovative programming and devices. And I'm going to be leading the efforts here at the Assistive Technology Lab and in the greater Think building. So that's kind of where I fit in. So I'm really excited because I'm a facilitator and I really get to experience and help people with all these creative ideas.
You're a facilitator. People call me a facilitator.
Oh yeah?
My role.
One of a kind.
Those
Very
are the best
cool.
kind of citizens, facilitators that can make things happen. I'm very excited about this partnership because part of the mission of World Team Sports of getting people into the sporting events is you need devices sometimes. If you're going to get somebody into a boat or onto a bike or into a hiking trail, they'll need assistance. And the work that the lab does will make that possible. So the partnership of American Portfolios with the center to make the lab, to support the lab, is so important because it will also support the work that I'm interested in with getting individuals that are physically challenged into sporting events.
That's great. That's great. Now, all of our work really is focused on enhancing that human experience, so that's a great collaboration. So we're actually about to get started with the ribbon cutting. So please join us on Facebook and check out our website and learn more about the event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lon. Appreciate it.
And now I'd like to invite Lon Dober up. Lon has been and continues to be a great champion of the center. He's been working with our adventure team for years, and Lon is not only a great philanthropist, he actually does the stuff. You know, he does the mountain climbing, the bike riding. He has really also brought us a tremendous relationship with veterans in the military, where we now do very dynamic things on an annual basis with the 82nd Airborne and other folks, disabled vets, and it all came from the inspiration of meeting Lon. And he's somebody that, again, he puts his money where his mouth is, but he also puts his butt into action. I thought we nearly lost him climbing down from the mountain where he fell, and I thought he was dead, but he is still here. I was going to blame Jim Cashin on that, but he's not around. But he continues to inspire us. He's got Richard and I think we got 10 or so other people. In May, we have to do a 100-mile bike challenge, so all of us are terrified, so we have to get into training. I don't know if Ricky's going to make it with his 2 knees, but he's going to be our driver, something like that.
Face of America bike race, you should check out it. It's truly amazing. Lon may mention it a little bit, but it's a remarkable event coming up.
But also, I'll just bringing him up, Lon also embodies this with American Portfolio, his organization. And for years, his staff have come up here and battled the wilderness and all kinds of stuff with him. He's a great inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, Lon Dolber.
Can I tell a story?
Shoot.
Really, it's about transformation, and my story is about transformation. And it started about 10, 11 years ago when I was approached by Jim Benson, who is the founder of World Team Sports. His mission is to take individuals that are physically and emotionally challenged and put them on a team with individuals that are not, although you'll find out very quickly if you go on any of these adventures how you are challenged. And we do sporting events all around the world, whether it's climbing in the Himalayas, or in this case, Jim approaches me and says, how would you like to climb the tallest freestanding mountain in the world? Now, I've done a lot of climbing, and I said, no, I would not want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. It's a miserable climb. It's not technical. Yes, you're going to 20,000 feet, but why would I want to do it? He says, well, because I'll tell you why. 25 years ago, I took 20 teenagers that were physically and emotionally challenged, and we attempted to climb it, and 7 didn't get to the top because the blizzard broke out, and I promised them I would take them to the top. I said, I mean, 25 years later, you're going to take them back? He goes, yes. He says, you would be perfect. You should go. I go, what am I going to get? He says, what do you mean, what are you going to get? He says, listen to me. You will get more from the experience than you will give. I said, I don't believe it. Why will I? Well, let me tell you something. He was right. Ernest Hemingway said that in Africa, what is true in the morning is a lie by noon. What was true for me was I was going to Africa as a coach, as a teacher, but I came back as a student because I saw something that transformed me forever. I saw the humanity of the individuals that we were with. I was there for 20 days. You can climb that mountain in 7 or 8 days, but we took 20 days. And I spent time with these individuals, these human beings that were very different. And then I found out that, wow, we have a lot in common. And that's the transformation that happened to me. And I remember, and I'll tell you, one night, we were at 18,000 feet, right before we were going to go for the summit. And I couldn't sleep. It's very hard to sleep at 18,000 feet, by the way. You know, it's hard to fall asleep. But I got out, it was about 3 in the morning, and I was sitting, and I could see all the stars. It was amazing. And I had all these people around me. Think about it. We had porters, we had climbers, we had the athletes, the 7 athletes, but I felt all alone. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder, like, if my ancestors looked up at the stars and felt the same feeling of loneliness. And, you know, and I realized, you know, it's a possibility that all there is in this whole universe is us. But we feel so separated when we may be all there is. Why do we feel so alone and so separated? And then I started feeling a little bit better. And I actually felt a lot better. And I thought, well, I'm surrounded by other human beings. And I didn't feel so alone. And I went back to my tent and fell asleep with dreams of climbing closer to the stars. And so that transformation of seeing people, being with people, but you need that time. And so the events that I do give individuals that I bring, and I thank the parents for allowing us to have the opportunity to spend time with their very special loved ones, because it transforms us. And that's my goal. Now, the lab is so important to me because you have to sometimes develop devices to help individuals get into the woods, to get on a bike, to get into a kayak. And so this was the perfect partnership for me to put resources into the lab, which helps individuals get into these sporting events. And that's why I want to do it. The last thing I will tell you is this is a great story. Some of you have heard it, and my wife says I'm very boring because I repeat myself over and over. And sometimes the stories hit the mark. When we were close to the summit, I knew that we had climbed through the night, got up at 11 in the morning, about 6 a.m. we were close to the summit, and I could see we were close to the top. There's a sign at the top of Kilimanjaro that says, "Welcome to the top of the African continent." So I knew because I saw it in a book. And it just worked out that the 7 athletes were right behind me. They were right behind me. Now I decided I wasn't going to go to the top. I would step off and just watch them go to the top. The person that was right behind me was an individual that hadn't talked to me, was on the spectrum, didn't ever say anything. I remember him in camp, kind of by himself, never said a word to me. I stopped, so he stopped. I said, "You take everybody to the top." And he did, as soon as I got out of his way. He kept going, took everybody to the top, And I watched that. Now later, when we got down, we had to go from Arusha to Amsterdam. They were, all 7 were flying to LA where they were from. I was on a later flight to New York. I decided to go to the gate and to see them off. Now this individual that didn't say a single word to me, before he goes to that gate, he walks back to me with his head down and says, "I'll always remember I took everybody to the top."
That was great.
That's the experience that I want others to have. And that's the experience that the Center for Discovery has allowed me to have. So I thank you, and I thank the center, and yes, we do have our first contribution to the center.
I think that, you know, when the Indigo Project, which is this, most people know what it is, was developed, it came from these folks saying that our folks had a right to move. So if you keep that metaphor cooking, God knows what's next.
So for this year, we have 3 events. We do have our 10th event for the center up at Frost Valley. So it'll be the 10th time that we've done an Adventure Teen Challenge. We have our 14th time that we've ridden bicycles with soldiers from the Pentagon to Gettysburg Battlefield. It's a 2-day ride, and we'll ride with about 500. It's quite an experience to ride with men and women from the armed services and ride into the Gettysburg Battlefield. It's a pretty cool event. And we also do a ride from, we do a kayak trip, a 2-day kayak trip with IGHL, and that's what we have. We are talking about going back to Kilimanjaro though, so I may be talking to you about that.
So as I noted, Indigo Project was new to us. The scope was tremendous, and we've learned a lot as an organization. So what we intend on doing is leverage that knowledge internally, but also reaching out to the community to really include them in that problem-solving process, and with the focus on real outcomes and a real impact. So I think we're in the process of hitting the ground running. The ribbon will be cut, and we'll be ready to start it.
I told you he was smart.